chummy look. Yeah, it's the back is bottoming out on the shell.
So yeah, if you're not aware, we're making a Austin 7 special, sort of like a Speed X, the 1950s style of thing, but in a chummy body. It's a sleeper chummy. So this is actually an Australian Austin 7, so it is made of steel, but we need to be able to chop it all up to bits so we can weld some new bits and bobs into it. The transmission tunnel, is it a transmission tunnel? It's such an Americanism. That is in the way as well, so we've got to chop that off. I was thinking we'd only get away with that, but no. I decided we have to go the whole way back to the hinge point to be able to account for the whole shebang and then worry about welding bits and bobs in later. And then look, we got freedom to bounce whenever we want to, wherever we want to. Anyway, now that's done, we're going to be able to figure out where the actual seating position is. This is a longer steering rack from a later Austin 7 car, so it can go a little bit further back, but we need to figure out how far down it needs to be, so it's not like sitting up and driving like a lorry. I figured it was around there, which is an angle of this bolt pretty much, so we need to make a bracket that takes into account that angle. In order to do this, we need to raise it up so we can still actually have the pedal on there. So I cut up a few bits of chunky metal. This is a 4mm steel, and I welded up a little bracket, and after doing a bunch of wiggly welds with the MIG welder and a bunch of grinding, yeah, you can see that it does the job. It's nice and solid. You know, cover it with paint and you won't even notice. All of the outside welds needed to be grinded down so it would end up flush to the steering rack and the chassis and the brake pedal. And then once we got that bracket, we can plop it underneath the steering rack and see where we're sitting, and that seems to be pretty good. So we're going to drill some mounting holes onto it, and they need to be the same on either side, so it's bolting into the original holes and then bolting into the steering rack holes above, and then we're going to plump it on. It needs to be 2 separate bolts on the bottom and 2 on the top. If you put one through the whole thing, it'll be really wiggly, and having wiggly steering is not really what we want. It can be a little bit of a finicky faff to get these bolts in. Well, I found that anyway. And then I drilled a little hole to be able to put the shaft for the brake pedal through. This will raise the brake pedal up a little bit. People say this is a bit of a negative impact, but actually I found it to be a better position because it means you can actually blip the throttle a lot easier onto the accelerator because your foot is a little bit further up. After putting the wedge into the hole to be able to bolt it up nice and square to the steering rack, we're able to bolt it in place, and this is quite simple because you've already got the bolts sitting inside the wedge. So we're going to tighten it up, make it nice and tight, and hopefully it's nice and solid. Lovely jubbly. Anyway, now we've got that, we're going to pop the steering in and see if the steering box actually works. I did test this before, but we haven't rebuilt this one because it seems to be pretty, you know, light use, and it hasn't got much wear on it, if any. It's not very noticeable, so it seems to be working quite nicely. So we can pop to the next bit. I'm going to put the body onto the car. I found I've been able to roll it on like this, but we're going to be being able to strap it to the ceiling to be able to lift it on and off later on in this video. Anyway, we're going to pop the steering in. We're going to get some grease onto this, and we're going to pop it onto the steering rod. Yeah, not that much grease, though. You don't need that much, honestly. And then after plopping all of that in, we can put it in place. We put it on the steering box on the back, and then the front steering rod, and then we're able to put the back of the socket on, which has a spring on the back of it to put a bit of tension, so we can pop the cover onto it. We squeeze that down, and then bolt it over to the back of there, and this adds a bit of tension and pushes onto that rod to be able to add a bit of articulation to the whole shebang. It's exactly the same on the front and the back. There are some shims that you can put in here to increase the kind of tension on there, which I found I needed to do because when I first fitted it, I realized there was an awful lot of play. As you can see, I'm steering and there's nothing happening. This was down to the fact that it was already actually shimmed, so I found the shims again. As you can see, lots of play there, but now we've shimmed it. Look at that. It's nice and tight. Lovely. So if the seats sit about here, there's going to be a little bit of a compartment back here. I'm going to raise this up to about here. Ooh, so we've got a bit of a compartment in the back. And I'm actually thinking, if you know, the Austin 7 fuel tank for this time is in the front. It's not the nicest position for it to ever be. And since we're going to be using a fuel pump to be able to pump it into this thing, because it's a bit taller, it's quite a bit higher up than the original carb, which was gravity fed, which was a bit further down. Well, if we're going to have a pump anyway, we may as well have the fuel tank in the back. So I'm thinking of actually putting a a foam filled small fuel tank in the back instead of here, which also helps in the pursuit of weight distribution and things like that. So tank in there, probably battery there, because this is going to be filled in now because the car is lowered. Well, there's not that much room for clearance for the battery box to go there. So the battery's going to go in the back, the fuel's going to go in the back, and then probably because this is steel, remember, it's the Australian one, an aluminium floor there. If you can see there, the tunnel's been removed. The tunnel needs to be raised up. I'm thinking of need to raise this ridge up to be able to make clearance for the springs. So, boop, and then a bit of metal to hold the chair in. I was actually thinking of removing this bit of floor altogether and actually raising it up to this point and then going along there with some fresh metal, because this all looks a bit crusty, but I don't know yet. And then yeah, the tunnel needs to go a little bit higher, then a bit higher again, and then we'll have an aluminium back and an aluminium compartment bit in the back of it. And then yeah, so and then fill that in, and this will all stay kind of standard. This will be original, so the spinning thing will have steel over it. This will likely be steel as well, but I don't know yet. Just thinking about how to merge the metals together. How cool is that? So yeah, I put this video up a few days ago on Patreon, so if you want to see the next one before it goes up on YouTube public, then go and check it out over there, because needless to say, it supports this malarkey. It helps fund the Furby's really hungry appetite for pain and destruction. Yeah, I'm joking. But yeah, this is now shimmed. It's pretty good. And I've started to put this together so we can start building it up and actually put the radiator on the front and get the master cylinder plopped in. That is for the brakes. Anyway, I'll see you next time. Toodly-doo.